What's happening, everybody? Street Riders here, bringing you some benchmark results for the Sapphire 7970 Overclock edition. This has the DualX fan configuration. I'm going to show you benchmarks for 3D Mark 11 and Heaven DirectX 11. I'm going to show you stock versus overclock settings. Been getting a couple of requests to do some benchmarking videos, and since Fraps reduces frames, I have to do it with my camera. So sorry for the quality. Fraps, reduces the frame, so you don't get a real accurate result. So we're going to start with stock settings with BIOS switch set to position 2. GPU clock is at 1 gigahertz. The memory clock's at 1450. So let me apply that so you can see we're good. And then we're going to do performance test in 3D Mark, benchmark tests only. And I'm going to run that. My benchmarking software is all on my hard drive, so it's not going to load as fast as it would on my solid state. I don't like to clog up my solid state with crap that doesn't need to be on there, so I pretty much only run like Battlefield 3 and a couple other select games for the quick load times. So again, this is stock settings. This thing definitely cleans the floor with my 6950 Crossfire. 6950 Crossfire, its stock versus stock will actually beat the 7970 in frames, but when it comes to smoothness, the 7970 just actually absolutely kills it. It's just so butter smooth in comparison. It's getting a lot of stutter, I guess, with my Crossfire setup. I mean, even when it was running 60 frames, it would seem so smooth, but 60 frames on that Crossfire against 60 frames on the 7970 felt like it was a difference of like 30 frames a second. 7970 is just so super smooth. I'm running Catalyst drivers 12.8 right now. Not sure how I'm feeling about them. They're a little glitchy in areas. The one thing that I hate the most, I think, since 12.7 beta is the sleep. When the monitors go to sleep, sometimes it just won't turn on. It just won't wake up from it. But not too big of a deal. I got my processor running at 4.7 gigahertz. This i5 has no problem running at 4.9, but when you turn it on from a cold boot, it'll boot loop a couple of cycles before it turns on, and it just annoys me. Anything above 4.7 and I get that random boot loop, so I just keep it at 4.7. The 4.9 definitely shows some improvements in physics, but not enough that I'm worried about it, and you can also bump the heat up quite a bit at 4.9, so I just leave it at 4.7 now. 4.7 is completely stable. I'm running 16 gigabytes of DDR3 Samsung RAM rated at 1600 megahertz, but I have it overclocked to 2133. That definitely showed a nice improvement in physics as well. Sorry, the camera has a hard time focusing when screen's turning and crap. I'm running it. I'm recording on my Droid X or my Droid Razr Max, and it captures at 1080p, but it only captures at 30 frames a second. So it's actually the gameplay's running smoother than it actually portrays from the camera. Just like my one of my Battlefield 3 Eyefinity videos that I did like over a year ago. It was right when the beta first came out, and that video actually became pretty popular. It's up to like 180,000 hits or something, but I get trolled for that all the time because back then I had a Droid X cell phone that captured at 720p, but it only captured 720p at 22 frames a second. So even though I was running 45 frames a second in Eyefinity, it looked laggy, and I got a lot of flack for that, but whatever. telling you now. Okay, so here's the stock results. Decent, you know, not great, but decent. I don't know why it always shows my memory is only 1 gigabyte, but it's actually 3 gigabytes. And it always shows my processor clock just a hair under 4.7, but it's right at 4.7. CPU-Z will show it right at 4.7. Here's the detailed scores. If you can read those, think you can. Yeah, it looks like it's clear enough. You can read that. So there's stock results. Now my normal overclock for every day is the core clock or the GPU clock's at 1220, memory clock's at 1700, and the voltage is at 1.25. So I'm going to apply that, and let's run this bench again and show you the overclock performance. So got a nice little bump in frames there. We'll let this one run and we'll show you the results, and then we'll go into some Heaven DirectX 11 benchmarks. I'm going to run that one completely maxed out. It's stock versus overclock. I've shown a lot of performance testing games, but I was getting some requests from people who wanted to check the scores against their Crossfire setups and also their single GPU setups and see how they compare to the 7970. I'm definitely happy with my 7970. I think I bought my 6950 Crossfire, I think it was about a year ago, because I bought it to update my 5830 Crossfire setup. 5830? Yeah, the 5830 Crossfire. And I bought the 6950 Crossfire to update that for Battlefield 3. That was definitely nice, because I run Eyefinity, so my Battlefield 3 on the 5830s was pretty much running high settings at a resolution of 5256 by 1050, I believe. The bezel was way blown out. I didn't need that much resolution, because I've managed to get it down a lot lower because I've hidden the side monitors behind the first monitor, and it took away half the bezel. So I generally run it at about 5086 by 1050, and that usually looks pretty good. You don't get the overlap or the underlap on the side monitors. But yeah, the 6950 Crossfire bumped me up from medium high settings to completely maxed out with no anti-aliasing. And I was averaging about 45 frames a second on that setup, with lows of 38, I believe, and highs of about 70. And then I got the 7970 Crossfire, or not Crossfire, excuse me, got the 7970 single GPU, and at the exact same settings I actually averaged an additional 10 frames a second, so I'm averaging about 55 frames a second. My lows are down to about 42, but my highs can be up to 100. But it generally sits right around 55 to 65, just kind of in that area. And it's just butter smooth. Just hot, greasy ass on Teflon. So definitely worth it. But I sold my 6950 Crossfire a couple of months ago for $350, which was pretty good, because generally on eBay they're going for about $150 a piece, and when I bought the 7970 I got 3 free games with it, so I sold those games with the Crossfire setup, and somebody actually paid $350 for it, so it's pretty nice. I bought my 7970 for $420, so I got a pretty good deal. Alright, so there's the overclock settings. Performance score went up like 2,000 points. like 10,000, 180 almost on the overclock that I got at, but sometimes when you run it back to back, it just doesn't quite run as efficient. So you can see my clocks are up, and there's my there's the detailed score. Definitely much better, much better. So that one's done. Now let's go back to stock settings. Let's apply that. Let's do a little heaven, and we're gonna max this out. DirectX 11, tessellation's extreme, shaders are high. AF it's 16x, anti-aliasing at 8. Fix the resolution. Okay, so we're maxed on the Haven benchmark. Let's run this. This is stock settings. 1 gigahertz on the core, 1450 on the memory. Just got to hit benchmark here real quick. Get that benching. And once this stock one's done, we'll overclock and run it again. This is definitely one of the better looking benchmarks, that's for sure. At least you get a little eye candy while you're watching it. Averaging about 47 frames a second right now. Been meaning to do one of these benchmark videos for a while now, but just didn't really have the time. I got 2 kids. I got a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old, and they eat up a pretty good amount of my time. Gaming has definitely slowed down, but still pushing hard. I will never stop gaming. I don't care. I will continue to game until I physically cannot game anymore. That's pretty much my stand on it. Been gaming since 1984 on the Atari 2600 out in my garage. Playing a little Pitfall, a little Cubert. Started PC gaming when I was, well, we had a computer in 1985 that I used to play a little flight simulator on, and like Load Runner and stuff that my dad had, but didn't really start PC gaming till I was about 12. Started playing like Doom and Quake and things. Got really hardcore into PC gaming when I was about 16, 17. I started playing Quake, and I've been PC gaming ever since. I do play on Xbox 360 and PS3, and I've had every console since, but sorry consolites, PC gaming's where it's at. Still got love for my consoles though, but PC gaming is my #1 choice. I have a 4-year-old son. He's kind of taken over the Xbox. PS3's become my Blu-ray player in the living room. Otherwise, I game on my Eyefinity rig. So we're averaging about 42 frames a second right now. We're on stage 19 to 26. This is again stock clocks. This just reminds me of the floating mountains in Avatar. I know, geek alert, but really does. It's a good looking benchmark. Hopefully the camera quality is not too bad. probably not great, but it does the job. We're averaging 47 frames a second. It's going up. Stage 24, 26. And the frame is climbing rapidly. And I think that'll about do it. Let's get those results. Alright, so there's the results. Average frames 49.3 frames per second. Minimum was 20.8 and max was 122.6. Completely maxed out. Okay, so let's change the overclock. Come on, come on. Okay, so now we're going to go to my 24/7 overclock. Core clock 1220, memory clock 1700. Let's apply that. And same settings, maxed out. Let's run it again. And benchmark. Alright, here we go again. Sorry, my camera hit the time stamp there on the video length, so you missed stages 7 through 9 or 6 through 9, I think. So didn't miss much, but we're still going here. We're at stage 12 of 26. We're averaging 53 frames a second currently. So smooth, it's just so butter smooth. Even when it's at like 30 frames a second in areas, it's so smooth. Here it's just at 130. It's stage 21 and 26. Almost done. It's going to be a long video. This video is going to be about 20 minutes. I don't know who the hell is going to watch the whole thing, but you can jump around and get the results. I know a lot of you would like comparison videos, because when I research stuff, dude, I always look on YouTube to find reviews and comparisons and things, and I like doing stuff like this because it shows people what others are getting and what they're capable of, you know. Alright, and there's the overclock. Not a huge jump on this one, just the way it's optimized, but score went up 200 points plus, The mins are at 24.8, the max is at 147.3, and average was 59.4. So there you have it. Use it as you will. Please like, rate, and subscribe. You know, trying to get my channel to grow, trying to help you guys out, trying to be productive in the YouTube community and give help when I can. So see you guys later.